Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. You've joined me. It's the Rumour Mill. This is One Leeds. Welcome back to the latest video. This video, as always, is sponsored by Shop GNO, The Job Match Group, and Match Bingo. Let's get into it. First up, The Job Match Group. Whether you're looking for your next big gig or just browsing, The Job Match Group has niche job sites made just for you. F1, retail, security, and loads more. They're about matching the right person to the right job. Make sure you check them out if you're ready to level up your career. Then we've got Shop GNO, an exciting new e-commerce site where you can grab exclusive deals and discounts. Right now, One Leeds has an affiliate link just below where you can score a 25 quid membership for free, unlocking special rates and benefits. You can even list your own shop on there with way better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. They've got some Leeds bits and some general bits now and launching soon, plus some great prizes just for signing up. This is all powered by a massive Leeds United fan looking to make waves in the online shopping world. So check them out and support your local. And don't forget our mates at Match Bingo. They're smashing it with footy fun. You can get 5 bingo cards for the price of 4 through One Leeds, and you can even deposit just a £5 at a time to join the action. It's a big chance to win whilst having a blast with your fellow Leeds United friends. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check the links in the description, and let's get on with the video. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and this is the Rumour Mill. What's going on in your world? Let me know in the comment section below. Today, we're talking about stadium redevelopment. We're talking about Anton Stach. We're talking about Sean Longstaff. We're talking about Manor Solomon and much more, everybody. Daniel Farke's press conference should be in and around 1:30 p.m. What do we have after that? We have the things that we learned from Daniel Farke's press conference. How do you see that? Make sure you're tuning in consistently to One Leeds. Make sure that subscriber bell is switched on and you're liking all the videos, guys. It really, really helps you liking the video. If you are obviously enjoying the content, if you didn't catch last night, the hard line at a bit of a different time last night. Normally it is Sunday at sort of 7 p.m. Last night was a bit different. I unfortunately was concussed on Sunday night, so I couldn't do much of that. So we did it last night instead, and it was a very fiery show, to say the least. But that's what I always love doing with Gabe. We always prod each other, and it's the best way of going about things, I think, because it's all about discourse, debate, and look, disagreement, isn't it? That's what it's all about as well, but respectful. And of course, engaging, hopefully. So looking at some of the regulars in the building, we've got Roscoe, we've got Jimmy, we've got Nicholas in the building. How's it going, guys? Smash a like more than ever for the best channel on YouTube. Thanks so much, Nicholas. Really appreciate it, mate. And obviously, we're going to keep this a little bit shorter, a little bit sweeter than normal, everybody, just purely based on the fact that we've got Farke's press conference at 2 p.m. So we're going to start off with Jaka Bijol. Now, interesting, his boss... Match. This is going to be an interesting pronunciation. Matches Keck. There you go. Matches Keck. That's what we're going with this morning. He's been talking about his situation at Leeds United, and we were speaking about it last night in terms of what on earth can you do with Jaka going forward. You bring him in as a 20 million quid signing. Is he going to be utilised at all? Are we going to see anything of him, even in just games where Leeds are maybe trying to see it out? He's one of the best defenders in Europe for clearances. Leeds United have been struggling maybe against Fulham and Bournemouth. When you're looking at the latter periods, could you bring Jaka Bijol to make some sort of impact in terms of being solid at the back? Surely you could. And, you know, this hasn't really been utilised this season, aside from a Sheffield Wednesday game, of which I thought all the Leeds team were poor, not just Jaka Bijol. So he's told, the Slovenia manager has said that he's spoken about his difficult period at Leeds United. Obviously, he served that one-match suspension, didn't he, when he joined Leeds United? And that felt like it served a purpose of then it being Pascal and it being Joe Rodon. And obviously, Jaka, if he hadn't have served that one-match suspension that he had to at the start of the season, which carried over from Italy, which was a lot of nonsense anyway, he would have probably been starting for Leeds United. So it's strange how things work, really, in football. Keck said it's definitely left Jaka Bijol frustrated, but he stressed it's not a falling out between Farke or Leeds United, just bad timing and competition. He described it as problems at Leeds, but accepted that the coach is picking the players who are in the rhythm. And when you're reading what Keck says, the Slovenia manager, it is all based really on, look, if you've got the managerial selection and two players are doing better ahead of you, that's a great problem to have, but it's not a problem that is going to keep Daniel Farke up at night. He's probably just going to select those two. However, if one of them put in a little bit of a dud performance, and we're conceding consistently from set pieces. We've conceded what, 9 goals. 3 of them have been from open play. The rest have been set pieces. There is going to be a little bit of a finger pointing, and I presume there's going to be a bit of a finger pointing at Daniel Farke. You've got one of the best headers in Europe on the bench. Would you not utilize him? So yeah, it feels like Bijol is waiting for that opportunity. And the message from the Slovenia boss was he's backing his player, but he completely understands Daniel Farke too, which I think is a very respectful way of going about it, to be honest. Leeds Len says, actually not convinced Strauch was that great against Bournemouth. I think the midfield provided so much protection for the back four. Luke says, I'm blind. Okay. Morning, everybody. Morning, top man. Jimmy says, if you're BO, you must be thinking you're missold. Morning, Connor. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael. How's it going? Loving the concussed era, Connor. Epic debate with Gabe. Yeah, it's always good, isn't it, mate? It's always good. We actually had another debate that we were going to get into on the show, and that's what we like to do, because I don't think there's a lot of that on YouTube, so it's not like it's not natural, but we definitely have discussions beforehand of what we're going to poke each other on. Is it going to be, is it going to be the manager? Is it going to be on personnel involved in the squad? And we know you guys have a big reaction to it, so we kind of speak about it beforehand. What should we talk about? How should we, what do you think will be engaging and interesting for people as well? And I put a short out this morning. There's people on there going, agree with Gabe. There's people saying agree with Connor, or whatever. And that's what we want. That's what you want on the channel. I feel like we encourage that dialogue a hell of a lot on here, because you want people to have a voice, as long as it's respectful, as long as it's coherent. So yeah, morning everyone, how you dinks? How's it going? Morning Con, hey Gaz, what's going on? Morning Connor from a gloomy Keswick. Oh, I'd be up there though. Mark, I think my parents are up in Keswick at this moment in time as well. So Jimmy says, then on to an Aronson debate was an absolute saga. It was indeed. Okay. Let's get on to the next rumour on the mill this morning, shall we? So Anton Stach has been speaking to the BBC the other day, and he said he's absolutely full of praise for Leeds United fans. He also mentions Sean Longstaff, which I thought was quite an interesting part of his dialogue. Once again, he was mentioning how Sean got everybody together in the huddle and was saying, this, that, and the other. And that's been focused on a lot. When Leeds scored the goal, Longstaff was getting people in and saying, come on, we can, effectively, he was mentioned after the match that he was saying, come on, we can do this. And it feels like Longstaff has been a bit of a prominent player. And he is probably one of the elder players, really, isn't he, as well, of the group, especially when you're looking at some of the young bucks in that team, although we have been recruiting senior players. But definitely one of the more experienced at Premier League level. And it felt like Sean got them in and was talking about them. And Anton was talking to them. And Anton Stach was saying that, he was saying effectively, if you're reading between the lines, Longstaff's a bit of a leader within the group, which, yeah, I never really thought when Leeds bought Sean Longstaff he'd be viewed as that. But it's great to hear that. He said, when he's speaking about the fans, he said the supporters don't just cheer flashy stuff like goals or assists, but they cheer tackles and a block or a sprint and all that sort of stuff. And that's what makes Elland Road so special. And I think there's maybe a handful of stadiums like that in the country. You'd probably look at St. James's, maybe formerly Goodison Park, or the Hill Dickinson now would be similar. Villa Park, I think and Stadium of Light. I think there's certain grounds that really sort of resonate when it comes to that. And a lot of it is, the goals and assists are incredible, but when it comes to the endeavour, the energy and the passion as well, Leeds definitely admits that. Stach explained that he gives the players a huge lift as well. It shows the fans respect, hard work and commitment just as much as creativity. He said it's not only the fans honouring you when you were scoring or doing assists, it's when you have defensive actions, they push you, which is massive, and why Elland Road is 24 unbeaten for Leeds United right now. Really impressive. He also spoke about his growing social media presence as well. He said he started it in Hoffenheim, which, if you're not aware, Anton Stach does very bizarre Instagram posts and stories on the day of games and stuff like that, and it really sort of emits a personality, which is good in football. You always want that, don't you? But he said it's blown up over time. The online side, he said, the online side of his personality has helped fans get to know him beyond just a footballer. And I think we all got to know that, didn't we, with a certain Matthias click, which is good to see. You emit that profile online, it feels like you're a bit more connected to the fans. On top of that, he said that he wants to lead by example. show responsibility on and off the pitch with his performances, his connection with supporters, and his character. And as we know, he's quickly becoming a fan favourite. Dave Arnold says, morning, Connor, from a cloudy Worcester. Get the likes in, everybody. Overall, would you say Stach has been the game changer, or has done fine, or has been underwhelmed? I think he's been all right, mate. I think he's been decent. It's not like I'm looking at Anton and saying he's had a bad start at Leeds United. I think there's been a lot of positives. I think naturally you veer off a little bit, don't you, when you get into a certain stage of performance. I think, you're not going to be 9 out of 10 every single time. I think you've even seen that with Alton. I think there's been a bit of a drift off last season, aside from being an unbelievable, part of Leeds United, and the quality and the caliber that he's able to display on a football pitch is outstanding. But at certain points last season, even he dropped off a little bit. So yeah, not all these players are beyond human. So yeah, superhuman maybe. But yeah, Stach, I think, has had a really good start. I'd still say my player of the season so far has been Mr. Gabriel Goodmanson. I think he's been exceptional. So let's talk about the Elland Road expansion as well, everybody. So in July 2025, and I want to build you guys up to the latest news, really, when it comes around this Elland Road Stadium expansion. Leeds United and the 49ers submit their planning application to the Leeds City Council. Aim is to boost by just under 15,000 seats, taking it up to 53 or 56,000. There's commentary the other day saying it was going to be more veering towards 56. Business officer Marie Eisenberg said he was delighted to hit the timeline after 18 months of design work. More than 1,800 people attending consultation events in person. I wanted to be there, but this is what the feedback included, and positive bits in the stands as well. The West Stand apparently has been partially demolished and rebuilt, going from 8,000 seats. This was what the project might include, to 17,000. The North Stand being expanded from 10 to 15,000. Permission for up to 8 non-football events a year, which we've seen, haven't we, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. If plans are approved, Elland Road will become the 7th biggest stadium in the country. The timeline is clear too as well. The West Stand construction will start in May 2026 and end by 2028. The North Stand would then follow, finishing in and around 2030. Long time. Will we still be alive at that point? Me, probably not. So importantly, the stadium will stay open throughout the works as well, which is really important. No moving of stadiums, no moving to some sort of athletics track to play football. The local area has been factored in as well. Leeds plan to make it more car lean, focusing on transport, but also add around 1,500 parking spaces at White Rose Park, obviously only just down the road there in South Leeds. Public support has been overwhelming. 98% of fans backed the expansion in consultations, only with 22 formal objections. And on top of everything, the club announced in July that Elland Road is once again fully owned by Leeds, which we're all very aware of, which is obviously a big boost after being sold back in 2000 after being sold in 2004 during financial struggles. So big ambition, clear plan, strong local support, all very, very indicative of positivity at Leeds United, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. Great stuff, in my opinion. Okay, so Daniel Farke's press conference is coming up as well at 2 p.m. And what do we know so far? Well, we know that Willian Gnonto may be back, might not be back. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. We know around about 2 weeks ago, Jayden Bogle was moving a little bit gingerly. I'm always a little bit worried that maybe something's reoccurred. So we'll wait and see on Jayden. I'm sure it hasn't, but we'll wait and see. It feels like sometimes with our players, they'll be out for a little bit. They'll get back for a couple of games. Then there's something that reoccurs. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, every single press conference, I'm hoping that there hasn't been an injury there. So we'll wait and see with him as well. I'm sure he'll be fine, but we'll wait and see. We're looking on the fitness as well of Dan James and what is going to be, spoken of today. There's talks about weeks. There's talks about months as well. Lucas Perri, another big one. And what would you do? Does Carl Darlow stay in? Does Lucas Perri come in? I think Darlow stays in. I think Darlow should stay in. I think the only thing which I'm looking at him for maybe over the last 3 games has been that kicking out from the back against Bournemouth when he didn't need to do it. Just fall on the ball, Carl, even though you can only keep hold of it for 8 seconds. It's 8 seconds closer to that full-time whistle. So, yeah, overall, I think there's a lot to focus on there as well when it comes to the injury status. But I wouldn't be putting Perri back in. James, even if he was fit for this one, and a lot of you guys will have seen the Aronson and Nonto debate last night that me and Gabe had, which I keep mentioning. But I would actually be picking Aronson over Dan James now, which I never thought I would say. But I think right now, when I've seen Dan James towards the back end of last season and during this season, it's just not the Dan James that we know. I think there is clearly some issue going on there. Willie Gnonto, the verbatim and the language that Farke used from my perspective feels like he might be out for a little bit longer, but I could be wrong. And then we get back to that brilliant debate again. Do you go with Aronson? Do you go with Gnonto? And let me just make this absolutely clear, everybody. Just so if you are, I've watched the debate last night. I am more than happy with Brendan Aronson starting. I just feel with Bogle in that preseason that we've seen, I would quite like to see those two partner up. I think they're better in tight spaces. They're both more press resistant. I think they work very nicely together. And ideally, as a front three, I would love to see Gnonto, Okafor, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a sustained period. And if Gnonto isn't good enough, we can put Brendan Aronson back in or Dan James back in if he's fit at that stage. But I think technically and level-wise, that is Leeds United's best front three, and we've not seen it this season. So I want to see that for a long period of time. And then if we want to cast judgment on Willie Gnonto, on Okafor, or even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we can do. But I think technically they're the best three players. So yeah. Dan says, who are these strange people rejecting a stadium? Maybe they just didn't like something within the plans. Maybe the West Stand obviously getting to a greater standard, Dan, or maybe it is just the fact that they don't want Elland Road to change, which there are people like that. There definitely are. If when back standing on top with it was 16K, get more in the ground, agree. Michael says as well, think Stach needs to get used to the pace of the Prem. Chaz says, Connor, what's your thoughts on Metcha? Yeah, I like Metcha. I do like Metcha. I'm interested to see if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out at some stage. I'm really interested to see how Metcha comes in and does, and can he maintain fitness? Well, let's not beat around the bush here. We have signed two players who aren't the greatest when it comes to fitness. So yeah, that'll be really interesting, Chaz. I think Metcha, when he first came in, displayed a hell of a lot. I liked him in pre-season as well. I would say maybe he's not as quick as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it feels, and he's maybe not as good in the air. But I do think Metcha was still good in the air. And I think what Metcha and Dominic Calvert-Lewin we've seen with those two in particular is it's not like there's no way back for Joel Perri, but it's just a different style that Leeds are going for this season. And, you're looking at it as well. And when Leeds are trying to protect Leeds or even chase Leeds, are they actually going to bring someone like Joel Perri on? Or is it going to be Metcha ahead of him every single time? It feels like the latter for me. Okay, Noah Okafor. Interesting bit of news here. And obviously it involves this. So Adam Pope was talking the other day, I think it was for the BBC, but he was saying quite simply, Leeds United were offered to take, which we didn't know at the time. Adam Pope's I've just seen that this morning as of about half an hour ago. Adam Pope has said that Leeds United were offered Manor Solomon on loan in the window. But Leeds United chose to pick Noah Okafor. Now, I've mentioned previously on the show that Manor Solomon, as of maybe a couple of games ago, because people were naturally doing that comparison off that side, and I thought Manor Solomon had maybe done a little bit more than what Noah Okafor had done in terms of seeing on the pitch how we can protect the ball, how we can invert and drive towards the heart of the opposition. But I think, and they're a similar age as well. So Noah Okafor to me feels like almost like a project, but then you look at his age and it's like, oh God, I know he's 26, the same age as Solomon. But what I would say about Noah Okafor is I think there's a really high ceiling with him still. I think there's a really high ceiling of which I'm looking for him, probably similar to that of Gnonto, to get to even at an age of 26, whereas obviously Gnonto's 21. And the only reason I mention that is because we always talk about upward trajectory and potential and ceiling. I think Manor Solomon, you know what you're going to get. Brendan Aronson, you know what you're going to get. Noah Okafor, you feel that there's going to be development, strands added to his game, similar to that of Willie Gnonto, hopefully. But interesting that we were offered Manor Solomon on loan. Leeds didn't want it and went for Noah Okafor. I like that. I do like that. And I mentioned obviously the Manor Solomon side of it in terms of, because he was good for Leeds. Let's be honest, he was good for Leeds. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more rotation there with you-know-who. However, he was good for Leeds, Manor Solomon. So I like the fact that Leeds United went for Noah Okafor ahead of him because, I just, I think at Premier League level, he might have struggled a little bit, Mano. And I like, especially in the Fulham game and especially in the Bournemouth game, what I've seen from No Okafor. There's a bit of a development, there's a bit of a confidence, there's a bit of a, in my personal opinion, a little bit of progression there. And I think you especially saw in the Bournemouth game how quickly he is developing, because you saw him protecting the ball much better. You saw him making the right decisions in the right areas, and all the time as well. He wants to get a shot off, which I really like. So I'm glad Leeds didn't take up that option of Manor Solomon, and I'm glad Leeds then decided to put a transfer down on, obviously, no Okafor. Now, is that true? Pope has been fed it. So, yeah, you'd expect it to be true. But it's interesting, isn't it? And I'm going to get a poll in the chat, actually, and you guys let me know what you'd have done in that scenario. Would it have been a scenario where you'd have taken up Manor Solomon, or would you have rather done what we did and gone with no Roquefort? This is absolutely fascinating, actually, because I think you guys might be going on the other side of it, which is absolutely fine, by the way. But we've got a new option on the poll, which is great. So Solomon or Okafor? Solomon, Okafor. There you go, guys. Get in the chat. Let me know what you think when it comes to getting a player back. But I was very happy with it. I was very happy with us not going back in for Manor Solomon, because I just felt there was better options out there. We've spoken about it before when it comes to like Loriente, when it comes to others. I felt there was just better options for Leeds United out there that could acclimatise to the Premier League. Wasn't completely sold on what I saw with Okafor. I thought there was maybe a little bit of a lack of physicality as well for his height, for his stature. But does height always equate to physicality? I think a lot of the time when you do your work in the gym and when you do your core work, I think it should do. But overall, I think what I'm seeing with Okafor, even like game by game, he's developing. Got his goal against Wolves. Still didn't think it was his greatest performance, but people were doing quite rightly the conversation about 14 dribbles. I was a little bit more thinking to myself, yeah, but he didn't protect the ball enough. He was losing possession quite a lot. I want you to be doing these successful dribbles in the right areas, not in your own area, which obviously led to the goal, Wolves' goal as well. I saw against Bournemouth a much more mature performance, and I actually thought against Fulham he was better. But I think out of the three performances, Bournemouth was no Okafor's most complete performance. I'll be interested to hear what Daniel Farke has to say on that today as well, for me, everybody. So, yeah, let's have a quick look at what you guys are saying on the poll, shall we? Let's have a quick look. Quite even. Okafor does need to up his game a little bit. Is Solomon right-footed or left? He's right-footed, isn't he? He is right. Let's have a look. Okafor has more of what we need in terms of flair and unpredictability. We have a solid run of mill in wingers in James and Nonto. We need something different. Completely agree with that. Leeds United Fan Network, hi mate, says, hi Connor. You hope you are well, like you did your hardline with Gabe yesterday. Gabe had a good point about Nonto. He's had a lot of chances, and bear in mind, he doesn't seem to have nailed down a place. Yeah, I think, look, that's absolutely fine, mate. That's absolutely fine. I am very more ability driven. I disagreed with Gabe's comment as well, which I think slides his argument a little bit when it comes to endeavour, because I think Willie Gnonto, especially recently, has been very good in terms of a defensive capacity for Leeds United. Does his numbers stack up with Brendan Aaronson? Well, probably not, because Brendan Aaronson is known for his off-the-ball work and his off-the-ball pressures. But I think Willie Gnonto as a technical operator is much better. And it doesn't even have to be going forward. It can be retaining possession. It can be winning free kicks. It can be making the right decisions in the right areas. It doesn't just have to comprise of two segments, which is going forward and going back. It's the overall game. It's the eye test as well. Not everything is based on statistics. Not everything. I think when you look at a player like Willie Gnonto and you look at a player like Brendan Aaronson, I think maybe a lot of it is based on what we know is Brendan Aaronson and what we don't know is Willie Gnonto yet. I think a lot of fans, including Gabe, are disappointed still by the fact we haven't seen this next level from Willie Gnonto, but that's based on your own expectation. And people like me might drive that expectation. I don't feel like I do. I feel like I say with Willie Gnonto that he's just a better player than Brendan Aaronson, and he's a better technical player than Dan James. I'm not saying he's going to be a top six footballer. So maybe it's the rhetoric that is online that some people may say that Willie Gnonto is up here. and Brendan Aronson is down here, so they shouldn't be having the same number output. But I don't think that expectation is driven that highly for Willian Gnonto. I just think he's a better footballer than Aronson and Dan James. And on that right-hand side, I really like what I saw in pre-season with him and Jayden Bogle. I thought they were terrific in drawing left-backs out, drawing central midfielders out, and being able to utilise those overloads and those underlaps really nicely. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Let's have a quick look at what you guys are saying anyway on that poll. So we have, let's have a look. We have 20% for Solomon, which is great to see. 20% for Solomon and 80% for Okafor. If you guys got the split screen when it comes to adverts as well, that's new. Solomon on the bench better than Harrison. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened, mate. Solomon would have been playing. But yes, I agree with what you're saying in terms of caliber, definitely. But I think there'd have been an expectation from Spurs views coming on loan for him to be playing. Looking back on a loan, we should have took him. Why not do Okafor and Solomon when available? I feel like that's probably going to be the rhetoric, isn't it? Considering how I transfer, yeah, get both. There you go. I feel like you guys are going to be saying the exact same thing there. Morning, lads. Hiya, MW. How's it going there, mate? Long-term BA is not the answer. He's Mr. Right now. Fair enough, bud. I think we need Perri back ASAP. Darlow's been good, but crack's starting to show, especially with how he lined up. Interesting. Chris says, morning, Conrad. Late to stream after returning for 4 days in Barcelona at 3 a.m. How was it, buddy? How was it, bud? Len says, we still haven't seen the Gnonto we saw in the Marsh. Farke done a lot right in improving players. Don't think he's done that well with Gnonto, though. Yeah, a lot of it as well, mate. It's naturally, it feels like it's down to the player as well, but that development's got to be there, that structure, that, framework around the player as well to develop him. Charles says Aronson started well at Leeds because of his energy, but started to crumble as the 23 season went on. Gnonto was great early on, but he came to the fray but took a backseat for James. Yeah, exactly. There's a little bit of context, isn't there? There's always going to be a little bit of context, but yeah, let's go on to the latest bits as well around Tottenham Hotspur. Shall we? What have we got here? Yeah. Okay. So over to Tottenham. They've had, I wanted to bring this to you guys as well. They've had long-standing problems around international breaks, which is quite interesting when you look at the history of the Tottenham Chiellini, if you guys don't know. So they haven't won a game before a break since September 2023. And it's Leeds United, but no, I'm joking. But so that's a great little statistic for Leeds United. Recently, we've seen it again. They've struggled a little bit, haven't they? Not just before the international breaks, but in general. 2-2 with Brighton, 1-1 with Wolves, and in Europe 2-2 with Bodo Glimt. I thought Bodo Glimt were fantastic in that game, but they did rest Kudus. There's conversations that they've rested potentially even Archie Gray for the Leeds United game. But the Spurs injuries heading into the Leeds game, they've got Dominic Solanke, who should be out for this one. Christian Romero's massive, and that's why I've got him on screen, because I think he's their best, even ahead of Mickey van der Ven. I think he's their best passer of the ball, which gets Tottenham going in a Thomas Frank system. I think Romero is huge for this game, and I've got a sneaky feeling he's going to be back for this one. Missed the Bodo Glimt game as a precaution, if you're to believe what you're reading online. It's unclear whether or not he's fit, but I think Romero could be the key. Randall Kolo Muani, the new striker they brought in for PSG, is doubtful of this one. Basuma's out with a knock, Madison's out, Kulusevski's out, and Koto Takai is also out. There's a lot of absentees in that Tottenham side as well. A couple of other Spurs bits as well. Mickey van der Ven says Xavi Simons has got to be starting most games, which, he's not started every single game for Tottenham Hotspur as well. So something to bear in mind there when maybe they're looking at that creator and maybe someone who could affect Leeds United in that role. But yeah, I think Leeds are going to have to go with a bit of a strong midfield for this one as well, because I think it's going to be, if you're up against Polina and you're up against Bentancur, it's not just going to be about that technical aspect. It's going to be about that physical aspect as well, of course. Archie Gray responsible for Spurs' second goal versus Bodo, indeed, yeah. That's it. Lens never backed the favourite in the early kickoff. I think it's a real opportunity for Leeds United. I genuinely do. I just don't think Spurs are there quite yet. They're good away from home. Let's not beat around the bush here. They are good away from home. They picked 7 points up on the road so far this season, and it's going to be a really tough task. If Leeds can get anything, it'll be a monstrous result. We've just got to be clinical when we get those chances. That's absolutely imperative. Hi, Connor. I'll smash the like button later on. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Morning, everyone. Morning, Connor. Just popping in for a few minutes on my break. Saturday is going to be tough. I agree with that, mate. Agree with that, definitely. Another international break. It is coming out. It is coming out very, very soon, isn't it? That international break. God's sake. Sigh. Guys, there's 500 of you in the building this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back with your press conference reaction. It's a little bit of an 8 to 10 minute snippet of me just giving you the highlights so you don't have to go through it. I watch all that Daniel Farke waffle so you don't have to. We'll bring you all the latest news at around about 3-4 o'clock as well, in and around that. So make sure you stay in tune for that. Hit that notification bell on. We do have another episode coming out on the Premier League preview with Callum Fowler on the second channel if you're interested in that. Also, everybody, we do have a Patreon exclusive starting with Mr. Oscar Marriott, where we do an in-focus episode on each player that we want to focus on every single week. That will be starting from 5:30 and uploaded to the Patreon. If you want to be part of the Patreon as well, you can join our WhatsApp group, which is fantastic and fruitful and full of information. Guys, check out our sponsors. I am Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and this has been The Room.